Welcome. I'm your host, Cal Benson, and this is 7th. I know what it looks like, but it's actually said that way. Believe it or not, people. In our main story, June 16, 1976, as a marker of change in South Africa, and where we are as society today. My Harry Potter uniform is not just because I'm a Hufflepuff, but to highlight the passivity of today's youth. The protests that began in 1976 were youth-led riots against Bantu education and the adoption of Afrikaans as the medium of education in black schools in South Africa. What inspired this piece is actually not John Oliver, surprise, surprise, but a personal mentor / inspiration, Dr. Ronnie Masilela. He helped me realize that the mentioned turning point is not just on a piece of paper, but is actually living history. I use this term not only because many of the people who were involved through the event are still alive, like Ronnie and my mom, but also because it was a starting point of a revolution that I argue should be continuing today. Most of us see June 16 as an end to the apartheid regime. Yet, it was just the beginning of a 15-month struggle which spread to 200 towns and cities across South Africa. Before I continue, I will repeat, June 16, 1976 was a starting point. More importantly, the only problem I had researching that fact was flipping through books and using the internet for not social media and porn. On that note, romance movies, not action ones like the Bob mentioned, like the last 5 years and one day, have encouraged me to draw a timeline from June 1976 to now, and not only the hour-to-hour count of that day, which is rampant. I mean, fast and furious. I mean, too fast, too furious. Not relevant enough. I mean, fast 10. Although the history is important, we will not discuss Hector Peterson. I will, however, say condolences to his family, especially because we show his picture without remembering you are still alive. We will, however, move along further in the timeline. This is not a Hufflepuff uniform. Wow, I get my own script wrong. And I'm reading, so wow. This is a not Dr. Spacetime, but Hufflepuff, people. Yes. Okay, I'd just like to show you that image while I read this. As it turned out, attending classes was not going to be smooth. The riots that started the previous year continued. From time to time, we were interrupted by commotion and disturbances in the surrounding. Sometimes we were out of class for a few hours, sometimes for the whole day, sometimes for days depending on the severity and the extent of the situation. More often than not, we had to run for our lives and duck and dive for cover in an attempt to stay out of the way of stray bullets that were flying all over the place. Normal and effective learning became impossible with the ongoing interruptions. The police ran riot, and we feared for our lives. Sometimes on our way to school, the police Casper would arrive and pick us up, take us to local police station and keep us there without food or water. Sometimes they just kept us in those uncomfortable Caspers, drive around with us and decide to release us late in the afternoon. Many of our colleagues disappeared, and we never knew what happened to them. We were afraid to go to school, especially after some of our colleagues disappeared. Unfortunately, I see no joke in this. To continue, Dr. Ronnie goes on to describe a narrow escape of his. A strange woman doing her laundry helps him disguise himself while the police are searching for him. He asserts that then, every child was every parent's child, and every parent was every child's parent. What I'm trying to point out is that at that time, it was not a one-man fight. The defiance against the state had far-reaching repercussions. We worked together. That's one thing I got from researching Sarafina. Leleti Kumalo, Sarafina, and her classmates, which include Somizi, fight against the regime and to aid their teacher, Whoopi Goldberg, who helped in the protests. All I can say is my queen was in there, and you can decide which one of them that is. It's Somizi, definitely. Wait. Am I supporting spousal abuse? Along with student disappearances, as mentioned by Masilela, were exiles who swelled the armies of the liberation movement. These youths, fueled by the Black consciousness movement, had chosen freedom over safety and comfort, as Ramphele puts it in Laying Ghosts to Rest. This sentence is made up of work from 3 writers and me, so 4 of us. But only one of us gets love from Calvin Harris, because I was born in the 80s. Yeah, which brings me to 1992, the official release of Sarafina, where we could all sing along. Freedom is coming tomorrow. And then in 1994, 27th April, we celebrated even more with our first democratic elections. Unfortunately, since then, maybe because we have been told that our country is free, we stopped. Or well, let me say, I stopped celebrating and fighting. This is despite necessary social action. Us, as the youth, have allowed safety and comfort to take us again. Social movement. And I'm not talking about the dismal state of public, specifically school transport. Or maybe I am. It is the true definition of snafu, situation normal, actually effed up. The other day I saw about 8 students squeezed inside a sedan, which reminded me that we have been speaking about certain things for a while. Pupils are often overloaded into unroadworthy vehicles, yet little action has been taken about it. I've witnessed the comings and goings of many a social movement, yet I've done nothing. I mention them in no particular order, but time went by and things like Marikana, fees must fall, teachers, nurses, SANDF, other essential services strikes, service delivery protests, gay rights protests, environmental justice movements, and so on have happened, yet we sit back or all we do is point fingers. And today, June 16, 2023, I say finger pointing is not enough. We actually need to act. I don't know what today's youth use as an excuse, but in my matric year, I was reading Harry Potter. I chose pop culture and not political consciousness. I chose to dream about the impossible, like being famous, making lots of money, waking up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, saying YOLO every day and no to responsibility. I was blind. 2007's version of me wondered about his future career. Had anyone said YouTube content creator, maybe I would have celebrated. If they said use it for social responsibility, I would have shaken even more. But maybe in a bad way. Harry Potter was all I cared about. House Hufflepuff forever. Don't tell me blue is Ravenclaw in House Hufflepuff, and yes, that is how we say it. We make up the rules as we go along. Talking about rules and back to the main point of this. Youth defiance of the unjust led to change in South Africa. I have to say that I'm not the only blind one. So, could I ask a favor? Put as much effort into political consciousness as you would finding that awesome song without apps like Shazam. What I'm saying is apply yourself in something even as small as student representation, except of course when your institution doesn't have it, like Boston City campus. I finish off with what I believe is an awesome mic drop moment. You complain about the situation of our country, but effing do something about it, which is a translation of Foko Politica's Brand South Africa, which actually sounds better in Afrikaans, so I'll sing it. Jy pla oor die toestand van ons land, maar volken doen is daaromtrent Brand Suid-Afrika.